name is Knight Gideon, and today we are going to install and configure DNS in Windows Server 2016. What is DNS? DNS simply means domain naming system or service. Okay, and what DNS does is it resolves fully qualified domain names to what? IP address. That's forward lookup, and also it resolves it maps IP address fully qualified domain names. So that's names. So what is fully qualified domain name? Fully qualified domain name can be www.facebook.com. It's a fully qualified domain name. An IP address can be 192.168.1.what 2. It's an IP address. So for not wasting time, we are going to first install DNS rule. Secondly, we will what? Overview DNS. And thirdly, we are going to what? Configure DNS by looking at what? Forward lookup zone and reverse lookup zone. Okay. Yeah, so for not wasting time, let's get to our server and let's see how we can install Windows DNS in Windows Server 2016 and see. Okay, so this is our server manager and we are going to install DNS role in Windows Server 2016. Okay, so let's click on manage, click on add rules and features, click next, select role based or feature based installation and click next. Okay, so this is the name of our server and this is the IP address, and the operating system edition is Microsoft Windows Server 2016 edition. So we are going to install DNS rule on this server. So click next. So there are a lot of rules available, but we are just going to install DNS. Okay, domain naming systems, that's DNS. It provides name resolution for TCP/IP networks. Okay, so DNS servers are easier to manage when it is installed on the same server as Active Directory domain service. Yeah, Active Directory works with DNS. If you install Active Directory's role, I mean if you are creating a domain and you install Active Directory role, you end up by seeing DNS default by default, because it means that Active Directory work with DNS. Without DNS, Active Directory cannot work well and it's not going to work. So Microsoft have done it in such a way that Active Directory always go with name resolutions. Okay, so it goes with DNS. But for this one, I'm going to install and configure standalone DNS. But if it was to be, we are to be in a domain, that we have a domain, by default we will get DNS. Okay, so for this one is standalone. So let's click DNS and check it and add all the features and click next. Okay, click next. You can choose to restart the destination server automatic if required. Okay, but we don't want to do that, so click install. And if you click install, DNS is rule is going to install. DNS rule is going to install. DNS rule is going to install. Okay, so the installation of what DNS have what finished. So you just close it, and if you look at the left side of our server manager, you can see DNS is here. Okay, so if you look at the notification area, we are getting a notification that installation succeeded on our server, which is a DC01. The name is DC01. Okay, so you can choose to close this notification and click on tools, launch DNS. Okay, so this is DNS on this server. So DNS, what it does is it resolves fully qualified domain names to what IP address, and IP address to fully qualified domain what names. Yeah. So secondly, we are going to what overview or see some features in DNS. I'll take you through. Okay, so let's get to our server, and if you expand this server, you can see forward lookup zones. If you expand the reverse lookup zones, that one you will not get anything. Okay, fast point, conditional forwarders, everything. Okay, so let's right click DNS and come to properties. Okay, so interface means where DNS should resolve from. Okay, maybe you have 2 or 3 network adapters, and you've configured every network adapter to a specific what LAN. DNS can what resolve from them, but for now we are having only one what network adapter, and that adapter is having an IP address of 192.168.1.2. Okay, so what is forwarders? Forwarders means if somebody search a names, let's take it, you have an organization and you have a computer somewhere, one of your sales what computer, and you want to ping whether the sales computer is working, and you what ping it, and you get the answer that yes, this sales computer is what there, maybe sales client 1, you pinged and you get what the ping request back, you request and you get ping reply back that client 1 is there. Okay, but if you ping facebook.com, it means facebook.com is not in our what local organization. So what DNS will do is DNS is going to forward it to the forwarder that you've given to DNS. Let's say you have a different DNS somewhere, and you in the forwarder you provide the IP address of that DNS. So if DNS search the name in its database and it didn't find anything, DNS is going to forward that facebook.com to that what DNS server somewhere in your organization. Okay, and for let's say the forwarder that you provide was an internet what forwarder, let's say Google DNS. If DNS search is query and it didn't get facebook.com, it's going to forward it to the Google what DNS through the internet, and the Google DNS will resolve what facebook.com for you. That's forwarders. Okay, and again too, we have root hint. So if you by default, if you don't have any forwarder and you ask DNS to what to search maybe a name facebook.com for you, what DNS is going to do that is that the DNS is going to forward it through its what root hint. If it searches the database and no Facebook is in its database, it's going to forward the facebook.com to any root hint. So for now, The root hints are what? DNS servers in what? The internet. We have we call them dot or root DNS server. Okay, that's the main 13 root DNS server. Okay, so if you want to count them, you can start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay, so we have 13 root DNS in the server. Okay, so if your DNS search it what database for facebook.com and it didn't find it, your DNS is going to forward it to the root hint, which are the what? The 13 DNS at the internet. Okay, so that's root hint. And monitoring, you can monitor to see whether DNS is working. Okay, you can monitor. You can do a simple query to see if DNS is what? Resolving client's name. Okay, so let's do a simple what? Query and see. It pass. It means DNS what is what? Resolving in our what? Our local what? Company, or DNS have started what? Working. And we have event login. If you can set event login on DNS to what? To keep any event that is happening to DNS. So if let's say DNS get what? Corrupted now, it will say DNS will give you an event that due to this event viewer give events on DNS that due to this that DNS have what? Corrupted. And we have debug login. For debug login, you can use it to troubleshoot. Okay, you can ask DNS to give you notification for notification purpose, not for notification, for troubleshooting purpose. Okay, so that's DNS and it what? Properties. So if you right click on DNS again, you can see configure DNS server. Maybe you have a different DNS server somewhere and you want to what? Connect it to this DNS server. Okay, you can configure a what? DNS server somewhere. And what is new zone? New zone means whether to create a forward zone or what? Reverse lookup zone. Okay. And you can, this is set agent and scavenging for all what? Zones. If you want to set scavenging agent and scavenging for all zones, agent and scavenging means maybe you have a record information of a what? A records. I mean information of a server. That's the full qualified domain name, which has been mapped to an IP address in your what? Database. And that information will be there for a long of time. And you want to what? Set agent and scavenging means, let's say for 7 days time. I know this information has been there for a lot. So I'm configuring you that for 7 days time, any information that have been there and the person is not what? Using that information, just delete it from the database. Okay, that's aging what? And scavenging for all zones. And you can scavenge still records. What I mean is that right now, if there are to be a records in my DNS, I can what? Scavenge all of them. I can delete all of them away. Okay, and you can clear the cache. So what is clear cache means? The meaning of cleared cache is that maybe you some clients what? Ask of what? Facebook.com and DNS server what? Make a what? A query to the what? A dot root to the top level DNS and what? Get facebook.com for the what? Clients. So if our local DNS gets the facebook.com, the IP address and everything, it catches it in its what? Memory. So our DNS have facebook.com. Why is it that DNS have facebook.com in its memory? So that if next time somebody asks of facebook.com, it will look at its memory and what? Say yes, this is the IP address for facebook.com. It will not go through a long process to the internet, to a root DNS, to top level DNS before it gets facebook.com again for you. So it means that what? Cache that is in our what? Local DNS can be what? Clear away. And you can launch NS lookup to check whether a service is running, a server is online, or the fully qualified name for the server. Okay, all tags, the same thing applies here. That's DNS for you. Okay, so this is the overview of DNS. Okay, this is the overview of DNS. DNS is not hard. Domain naming what? Systems which resolve fully qualified domain names to IP address, and again IP address to fully qualified domain name. Fully qualified domain name such as www.facebook.com to an IP address, and maybe the 10 dot something dot something, which is an IP address, to www.facebook.com, which is fully qualified domain name. Okay, so it's not anything what hard. So now we are going to configure DNS by looking at what? Forward lookups zone. We are going to configure forward lookup zone. So let's get to our server and configure forward what? Lookup zone. So you right click on forward lookup zone and click new zone. Okay, so what does new zone means? New zone means we are going to give a name, okay, for our company. And if you click new zone type, you can see primary zone, secondary zone, and what? Stub zone. Primary zone means this is the first DNS that we are going to what? Configure in this what? Server, or in our what? In our domain. And let's say secondary zone. If you are going to select secondary zone, it means you've already configured a primary zone somewhere that you want to what? Connect that DNS server to this DNS what? Server. So for now, we are going to do primary zone, and create a copy. And stub zone means create a copy of a zone containing only named server. Okay, start of authority. And for this one, we are not going to do secondary or stub zone. What we are going to do is create a primary zone, because this is the first DNS that we are configuring. Okay, we don't have any DNS somewhere. So you click next. And what is the name? Maybe the name that we are going to provide is the name forward lookup. The name we are going to provide for forward lookup what zone is like a name of our company. Let's say we have a company called kbest.com. Okay, then click next. So zone file, you can create a new zone file or use a file copied from another DNS server. So DNS server is going to what? Create a file like this, and it will understand what DNS is what doing. So fully qualified name to IP address, you configure it in what? Forward lookup zones. And IP address to fully qualified names, you configure it in reverse lookup zones. So this is forward lookup zones that we are configuring. Okay, it's not like that you take, if you are configuring the server, it's not like that you take facebook.com and map it straight to an IP address. It's not like that. Okay, so click next, and what? Allow both, and select allow, and check allow both secure and non-secure, because this one is not in what? Active Directory. We've not integrated it into any active, we are not in any domain, it's a standalone. Okay, so it should support both secure and what? Non-secure dynamic updates of record. Okay, so if you have a computer client one and the full qualified domain name for the client for client one have been changed, update will take place in what? DNS. Because if your client is not connected to any domain, because this DNS server is a standalone, it will update the records for what? The client machine. So click next, and it gives us a summary, okay, of what we did. We create a forward lookup zone called kbest.com, which is a standard primary zone forward lookup type. Yeah, it's a forward what? Lookup type, which forward, but it's not reverse, it's forward. Forward fully qualified domain name to IP address. This is the file name. So we click finish, and we finish what? Creating our forward lookup what? Zone. So if you expand this forward lookup zone, you get kbest.com, and this is the information you are going to get in our kbest.com. The name of our what? Our server. Okay, and our what? Host master. Okay, so What we are going to do here is we are going to create a reverse lookup what zone 2. That's IP address to fully qualified domain name. So you right click and click new zone, click what next, select the same primary zone, next IPv4 lookup zone. Yeah, we are not going to create IPv6 because we will do it next time. So click next and you provide a network ID. You know, in every IP address have a network ID and a host ID. The network ID shows the network portion and the host ID shows the what host portion. So to know that this IP address, this is the network ID and this is the host ID, you can use the subnet mask to determine. Always the subnet mask shows which part is the what network ID and what which part is what the host ID. Yeah, because if you take IP address class A, okay, and class A, you can see that the subnet max for class A is 255.0.0.0, and if you take class B, you can see it's 255.255.0.0. If you take class C, you can see it's 255.255.255.0. Okay, so if you take the class A, class B, class C, the subnet map can show you that this is the network ID and this is the what this is the network ID and this is the what host ID. So we are going to provide our network ID by saying 192.168.1. Okay, this is our network ID for class C. Okay, then we click next. So let's read something here before we click next. Reverse lookup zone name. A reverse lookup zone translate IP address into DNS what name. That's the fully qualified domain name. Okay. To identify the reverse lookup zone, type the network ID or the name of the zone. You get me right? So reverse lookup zone name. So this is how DNS is going to put the records, and DNS can what? And DNS can remember everything. How to what? Translate these things. But for you to configure reverse lookup zone, this is what we are going to do. You just provide a network ID, and you see this is the network ID 192.168.1. But see the way it have what turn it. Okay, so click next, and here zone file. Click next and select allow both non-secure and secure dynamic update. Click next and what? Click finish. So we've configured what? Reverse lookup what? Zone in our what? DNS. So what we do is we come back to forward lookup zones and we expand KBase. No, yeah, and we right click KBase and click new host A records. So we provide a name for our what? Server. We just give a name like when dash dco1. Okay, and the IP address for this server is 192.168.1.2. .1.2, and we can use to create associated pointer records, okay, to update in case we change our IP address or anything like that. Then you click add host, and the host record windcKBase.com was successfully what created. Click OK and done. So you can see this is the name of our server in our DNS record here. Okay, so this is all about standalone DNS that we want to look at, and this is the meaning of DNS and fully qualified domain name, for example facebook.com for you. Welcome to kbest.it. My name is Kenight Gideon once again. Okay, I'm your subject matter for what? This one is DNS for DNS. Stick with us, kbs.it, and you'll be more, you'll be wow, you'll be boom in IT. Okay, you get more knowledge on Microsoft what server. I mean MS MCSA. Sorry, MCSA. That's Microsoft server. Okay, and this is what we have for you on DNS. But there are a couple of things that you can learn. Advanced things like DNS, how to protect your DNS. You can protect your DNS by what? Enabling DNS security. That's DNS sec, so that somebody will not just come and do what? Corrupt your DNS or do mix up with your DNS, because DNS is the what? Everything. If DNS get corrupt, you'll be doomed, because for a domain to work, it needs DNS. Everything. I mean, everything is DNS. Okay. So be careful with your DNS. And I mean, in the future, I'm going to teach you how to protect your DNS. Okay. By, by catch locking DNS, by enabling DNS security, which will provide an encryption for your DNS so that anybody will not just come and what? Corrupt your DNS. Thank you for sticking with what kbest.ic. My name is Knight Gideon, your subject matter, and I know if God permit us, and we meet maybe next time. Okay, meet next time. Meet next time, and there I'm going to teach you how to create a domain and a lot of things. Okay.